short notice to this opportunity for a heart to speak, a mother's heart to speak. And this was her idea, her out of a need, a longing to honor baby Cornelius, her baby, boy, her Prince Charming, with a respectful burial, unfortunate burial, but nevertheless he is due, the respect of being buried decently. She's a mother without the means to do so, but she believes she lives in a community that will respond to her need and cry for help to bury her. Some have come forward so far, but the help is still needed to make this happen. It's been on hold for a couple of weeks, and we're trying to bring closure to this part of her life as she struggles to deal with it without him and the rest of the issues that are in her life and the rest of the children that she yet to raise safely and in this world. So she wanted to come before you, and I said I'll get back in town to support her, and I'll call who I can to be here to hear her voice, hear her mother's voice.
Hi. So today I'm really just asking that everybody has their difference of how they want to go. It's already bad enough that Papa passed away the way he did, but I am not asking, I'm really just begging for help right now, because try to see things from a mother's point of view of, I don't want to, can I say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to cremate my son. I would like for him to be buried so that his sisters could have somewhere to go, that his ashes are not misplaced. And I'm just asking people to think of putting him in that thing and setting his body on, can I say all of that? On fire without it being, that's what I'm asking for. It's for people to help us put him down properly. I didn't expect any of this to happen the way it happened. He's out long enough. They're giving us only a couple of days to decide that, and I can't process that part. And I'm asking people, if you, to not allow that to happen by even whatever it is that you have to help us out to bury him properly. It's really what this is for today.
Is there a certain amount of money that you have a goal for?
It was 78 something. I don't have the exact, but it's like not 78, but
It's approximately 78 for the whole thing, yes.
Yeah.
We got some discounts in there, and we got some funds raised, but not enough to give him a decent and wonderful burial.
About $8,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
We maybe have like 2,000 through the 2,500 through the GoFundMe, but they're saying it's still not enough. This is my last resort. I've tried everything to do right by him. It wasn't before, but just to make sure that he goes down properly. I can't imagine doing that to him. That's like asking me to stand outside of my house while it's on fire, knowing my kids are inside. I honestly can't process. I know it's people do it, but it's just, that's my baby. That's not how, shouldn't even be doing this for him, but it shouldn't how he has to go.
I have lived long enough in Connecticut and asked so many times before for people's help. When my son was murdered, people helped. I was ill prepared to bury him. When my granddaughter was murdered recently, people helped. And here this mother is calling on that same chord of respect and decency that we find in Connecticut residents, that they would look beyond the circumstances of it and recognize that still this little boy, baby Cornelius, that her prince, deserves to be a homecoming that is worthy of his 2 years short life. The tragedy of the death will ride with this mother's mind and heart for the rest of her life, and many in this community have been shaken by the untimely death. But we're not too shaken to the point where we can ask for that part of this community, this part of Connecticut, that they would reach in and help burial. She's not looking for the glitz and glamour of it. She's not looking for horse-drawn carriages. She's not looking for sparkled graves. She's just going to have a decency to be able to say goodbye, to place her son in a place where they could be remembered and visited. And I strongly believe that Connecticut has done it in the past and can help this mother out, this family out again.
To help people understand what you're going through and to understand who your baby was, can you share with us some of your memories of
I got a lot. Cornelius was strong. He left the NICU. He was only home for 9 days. And he ended up in the hospital because he caught COVID and his right lung collapsed. He was in the PICU and they had him on they were talking about he needed to go on a ventilator. That's how bad it was. They asked me to go home and shower and to check on the other kids, and I didn't want to leave him, but they talked me into leaving him. And when I came back, he was in the crib with a breathing machine in his hand. He had took it out. And I went and I said, nobody told me that you guys removed it. And they all ran in because they was just like, wait, the machines didn't go off because he had been breathing on his own. The doctors was like, we're going to just wait and see how long. And just that morning, they was talking about putting him on a ventilator. But he did it, and he was breathing on his own, and he didn't have to have the machine back on. Is why I always say, like, I thought he was supposed to be here to do something great. See, there was so many things in the beginning of his first life. He beat COVID. He was in the NICU. He was born premature. I don't know if people know that, but boys' survival rate is not as high as girls in the NICU. And the girls they're faster, but boys are a lot slower in the NICU. And he came out of that. Everything about him was on point, on time, on 2 steps ahead of us all. So he was sweet. His smile. His smile was everything. You could be stressed out and he come in there and he give you a hug. And, no, it's not his job to make you feel good, but that's what he was for me. And he was for his sisters, them. He was peaceful. He wasn't a bad baby. No babies are bad, but, he was good. He was sweet. He was everything to us. He was the man of the house.
Also, you mentioned it earlier when you first started. You said, of course, everybody's going to have their opinion and things that they want to think. Is there anything you'd like to share with us about that day that you'd like the public to know?
I think that day is like the day of this nightmare that I can't seem to shake loose. And I know people are very opinionated, but I would like for people to know Papa was happy. And despite what y'all read, those who know us know who we were and how I was with my kids. His last days, even leading up to that day, was happy playing. I've gone over the Friday night videos over and over again to look for some type of sign. And he was playing, he was happy. He wasn't crying, he wasn't whining, he was doing regular boy stuff, running around the house. The girls were playing tag. That's what Friday was. It wasn't cleaning up, it wasn't yelling and screaming. It was letting the kids do whatever they wanted to, like, play. And mindful of what I say. It wasn't a situation of people, how people think it was. I'm asking people to try to think of that and not of what was bred by in that moment. That's like people coming in your house unannounced, but my kids didn't live like that. His last days on this earth wasn't living in Squire and all this other stuff that people put. I've replayed videos over and over again to make sure that I wasn't imagining my kids being happy or them playing and being normal. That's what it breaks down to.
Yes.
Were you able to clarify that day? Police had said you might have left to go to a store, and then I believe your attorney said that you had gone to the gate to do an Uber ride.
That morning, me and Dad had a conversation Friday night. Can I talk about that?
An attorney would don't really want you talking about the case.
I'll say this. When I left that house, my intentions was not to be gone for hours. It was literally supposed to be child care, was supposed to be pulling up. And this is something I've done every Saturday for the last 2 months. Normally, we meet downstairs, and that's what it is, or he pulls up right after. It's just this morning, as was explained to the police, is that it was a miscommunication. It was a mistake. That's all this was. It wasn't I wasn't partying, I wasn't clubbing. My refrigerator was broken. The kids needed stuff. I explained that over and over again, and just asking people to not take what you walked in a situation that you judged it. I'm just telling those who know me knows how I was with my kids, knew how we lived. You heard DCF say themselves they never seen my house looking a certain type of way. And yes, the majority of the people are judging because they feel like it just wasn't that. This wasn't that situation. This wasn't that family that mistreated their kids. The kids were abused. The kids was neglected. You don't have no reports from the school. You don't have no reports from programs that we were in mentioning anything other than I was doing the best that I could. I was a good mom. One thing happened, it was a mistake. I'm never going to forget it. I'm never going to forgive myself for it. I haven't been able to sleep because it's a constant replay of it. Just right now, I'm just trying to do the right thing and asking people to try to see it from a mother's point of view.
We all look for the Goldilocks zone where everything is perfect, just right. But when you're living, taking care of 5 children on the margins, your road home isn't all smooth sailing. You don't have the luxury or the comfort of buffers to catch your mistakes. And this mother did the best she can. She's the poster child of single mothers who are loving their children enough not to abort them, not to give them away, but to love them into a healthy life. As she said earlier, that struck a chord to me, that he was supposed to be somebody. When you fight in the NICU unit, when you fight for every breath of your life, and you come out, then you've been guaranteed a testimony that God has had you on this earth. And this tragic loss is felt by everybody, but no more than this mother, who held the promise of a baby in her hands and felt the task of being a nurturer of such a promising little boy. But we're here today pulling on the strings of a community that says, wow, you would have written it differently, you would have made a different decision. The decision we're asking you today is to support the honorable burial of baby Cornelius. He can't speak for himself. The mother's trying to speak for him. We hope you're hearing it. He loved his mother. And her job as a loving mother is to do his last walk, and that is to bury him and say goodbye to him for one last time.
Give my kids somewhere where they could visit him, where they could go to talk to him. Cremation is, I can't speak on it. I'm just asking people to tap into where I'm at in my head with it all. I just can't process that much. I love Papa. I, I love him.
Why you call him Papa?
Because Papa was, we always say you could have, he looked just like his granddad. He had an old soul. You would have, we don't call him a boy, we call him a man because that's how he acted. Like he was the father of somebody. Just, to know him was to love him. To anybody that knew him, knew of him, Papa was a good kid.
When you probably saw the description the officers said the condition of the apartment. I guess what would you want people to know? Was that a fair and accurate description of the apartment at the time?
No. What it was a single mother with the problems that I had, 5 kids under the age of 6. My oldest can't speak on too much of her, but it's like having a 2-year-old. At times you ever had 2 2-year-olds in the house? They touch everything, they break everything. I asked the cops, you walked into a situation, the laundry needed to be done. The spoiled food that people thought, oh, she must have been, that wasn't the case. As I've explained to the cops, our refrigerator was broken. That Friday night, no, I didn't mop the floor, but I cleaned out the refrigerator because the next day was to put fresh food in the house. I didn't take out the trash. It's late at night, wasn't taking out the trash in the middle of the night. You walked into a situation and you saw it as something crazy and it wasn't that. You just came into a house where it needed to be mopped or it just, it wasn't as they made it seem. I don't live in the suburbs where I could pay a maid. You ask a 2-year-old to clean up, what are they doing? They're tucking the trash away. They're hiding it. I'm one person, has to clean up a 4-bedroom apartment by myself. And if you clean up one room, they go in the next room and mess it up. That's what my apartment looked like. My apartment looked like a mother with 5 kids lived there. No, it wasn't the cleanest, but it wasn't where my kids were squire. There's a lot of things I couldn't help, but I was trying. I was trying.
This is a narrative that plays out itself 1,000 times, 10,000 times in Connecticut. Mothers doing the best that they can. Again, raising children using the things within their family as playgrounds because it's too unsafe to go outside. Too unsafe to take the garbage out. And you know where the garbage cans were? In the back of the house, in the darkness of the alley? I wouldn't even go back there. So these portrayals that we get, what we read in, those stories that are told, is about a life you want to see, but you don't want to know that there's thousands of mothers that are fighting. No matter where you live at, when you got children, you're always cleaning up the popcorn. You always have to get up and pick up after them. They don't know that at a certain age.
The wash laundry for 5 kids? Not a week. Our laundry downstairs, 2 machines working. The size of the machines are $3 to wash. They don't properly wash, and then you can't put like no more than 10 pieces of clothing in that. The girls alone, if anybody have girls, know how many times girls change clothes. We went to 6 Flags, so no, I didn't dry the clothes. We threw them in a corner. I wasn't expecting company. I wasn't expecting people to come in and be like, oh, there's a pile of dirty. It was piles of dirty, the clothes, because they needed to be washed. The kids throw wet clothes over in the corner. You can't be like, that's all I'm asking people is, people that been in my house, you hear DCF saying they never seen it like that. And they've been in my life, our kid's life since she was 3 months old. You came in there one time and saw a mess and you deem me as this bad mother who keeps her. These are years of them coming in and out of my house. For whatever reason, they never saw how we were living as a problem. You come there one time and you deem, oh, the house is a mess, let's lock her up. It's already bad enough I lost my son, but for people, I can't control what people think. But I would like for people to know that my son didn't live like that. My son wasn't living in poverty to a point where he just had a diaper on and he didn't have, it wasn't, did they tell you how many toys was in the house? Did they tell you that the kids had 2, 3 kitchen sets, doll houses where they had things in there? That if I didn't care about my kids, I wouldn't have worked so hard to be doing this. I would have just stayed in the house with him. What was the purpose of going outside trying to put food in the house if we just, they didn't tell the whole story. They told half of it, not even a quarter of it.
And you could only report what you read, what the report said to you. But today you have the liberty, you have the opportunity to tell a story about a request of a mother, a heartbroken mother, asking the same community to have a compassion for this little boy and this opportunity to show some kind of respect and dignity and an opportunity to bury him correctly. We're asking for that support. I believe it's out there. We're not asking for much. Thank you so much.
Have you seen the latest report, the latest statement by DCF? And if you have any comment?
Well, being a former DCF worker, I have got total confidence in the social workers that go out to make sure that the kids are safe. I love that job. Our job was to protect the children of this state. And if a social worker went in a house and deemed it worthy of a 136, and it didn't have to be factual, it just had to be like, this is my idea, this is my opinion that this room is unsafe. No 136s from the schools, no 136s from the programs, no 136s from the doctors or the dentists about the children. No one said the mother did not take care of her children, who had a responsibility to report it. That alone is proof that this mother done the best she could. Did she live on top of the hill? No. She lived in a valley trying to make it happen. Is she blaming you for having 5 children? No. She's thanking God for them, doing the best that she can. So yes, I felt when someone called me, I was out of town, they read me what the commissioner said. And I have much respect for her because she didn't have to do that, but she walked it back, saying don't call judgment because we was in the house and we didn't see it. We didn't see what you saw. And right, and so they saw real life. And real life is tolerable when you see dirty clothes in the car. It happens when you don't own a laundromat and stuff. So I was proud of that, to have that read to me that she did that.
And as I explained to the DCF worker, because the kids are with family right now, and as I explained, I do appreciate DCF speaking out. But prior to this, as I explained to the workers, I never heard you're a bad mom. Never heard you're a neglectful mom or you're not doing something right. I was told constantly by each DCF worker that came to my house, you're doing a good job. You're doing the best that you can. Something bad happened. Now it's like we can't speak on anything. I feel like no, this is the time where you need to speak on and tell them the programs that I joined. Everything you guys asked me to do, I did. The many times you showed up to my house without even calling, or even when you did call, you speak to my kids in private with me at school. If you never heard my kids speak ill or bad of me or our living situation, that's what you judge. You judge that. You judge that these people been in and out my home and it's never been the mom house looks dirty or it's filthy or it's smelly or anything. You never seen that. You never heard of those in none of those reports. As I keep saying, you came to my house one time and you saw one thing and you left it as it was bad. Now I'm a bad mom. Now I'm a neglectful mom. And that's not me. That's not my character. That's not who I am as a person. And that's what I'm asking the public to do. You can read what you want, but if it was like that, they would have had my kids been removed long time ago. They've been out since my daughter was 3 months old, and they deemed it okay for me to even have sole legal custody of my daughter. If it was that bad, they would have been removed the kids from my care. Doctor's office, the schools, the programs that they were signing us up for, somebody would have said something, right? Can't hide messes like that. DCF do a walkthrough of every room.
Are you able to explain why DCF got involved?
No, I was told not to. But it wasn't for abuse. It wasn't for neglect. Not on my end.
Have you been in contact with your other kids?
I have.
How they're doing?
They're okay. They miss their brother. They don't understand why mommy can't take them home. or why mommy can't stay the night with them. And I try to keep them out of the loop as much as possible, or not let them in on this our new reality. They miss each other. We're working on trying to get them all together. These kids, I used to say my kids, I never wanted them split up. They work together. To split them up like that and not.
I told Tabitha that this is not her story. This is indeed not her story. This is all of our stories. We know, we have empirical evidence that says that it is so imperative that we get this family back together again. That those 4 alive, yet remaining alive, need and thirst for their mother and father. To go on a punishment run, to not have a heart for the sake of saving a family, saving those lives, is just wrong for us to do. This is our story to fix. This is our story to make whole and make those kids safe again. The trauma of being without their mother, being pulled away and not really understanding, in a mind that can't understand the nuances of what happened the other week, is just crazy. But DCF knows, and every certified therapist knows that it's important to get this a handle on this trauma. Those children being traumatized right now. We understand that reattachment disorder starts when you separate a kid abruptly from the home. DCF knows that. Caseloads of kids who suffer from RAD. And these kids are headed down that line, not trying to figure out, how can my mother just leave me? Leave me? I thought she loved me.
Right.
So we have to fix that, because else we're going to break them to the point where they can't return. No matter what happens, they can't return. And that concerns me, that we know better. And we need to get her in front of them, meeting them, hugging them, letting them know everything is going to be all right, because none of our voices matter. But their mother's value matters the most, and we have to do that. We owe her that. We owe the children that. And Cornelius would want us to do that for his mother and his brother and his sisters. Thank you so much for your coming. Anything else?
No,
Yeah,
I just
you
want to
said
say
enough.
I appreciate you guys for coming out and even doing the interview and whatever. I do appreciate anybody that has gave or willing to give. Every little bit counts. It all add up.
How should
I'm
they
not
give?
looking for anything fancy. Just want to be able to put my son in the ground and not have him cremated.
How should they give? How can they give?
We're asking that if you're gonna give to the GoFundMe page.
It has a title, not what it's called.
I don't know directly the name of it, or directly to the funeral home
All
under
Faith
All Faith,
out of
under
South Windsor.
Cornelius.
The tagline at Cornelius, baby Cornelius, for All Faith in South Windsor, or the family has set up our GoFundMe page that people have been giving to.
I don't know if they can see it from here.
Call me and I'll come pick it up from you if I need to.
So
Make it out to the funeral home and I'll pick it up. We
you
need
guys are not going to be able to see it from
right.
here.
We need your help in a hurry.
They're
We
giving
need-
us to next week. If we don't have it by then, they're just gonna. We have to go through with the cremation of him.
We're short about $6,000. Really $5,500 because I've secured $500 out of my family and myself. But so $5,500 that we need to raise to have a community burial for this young prince that lost his life all too soon. A mother's heart was broken in an immediate dash in one day. So please, if you could report that a mother cries out for your help, even in the trouble that she's in, the broken heart that she manages. But she believes there's a community out there that cares. Cornelius deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is that all? Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.